I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, guys. Dating, have fun but don't expect too much. This is literally the first ever time I've moved out. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my space. I post lifestyle, personal and vlog content. I'm Louisa, I'm 20 years old. I'm in my first year of undergraduate business and management. So I posted something on my Instagram story to give you guys the opportunity to ask me any questions that you have about university, and then I deliver you my answers. I'm also going to be giving you guys a few of my tips from personal experience about starting university, freshers, moving out for the first time, etc. Thank you so much for everyone who has been tuning in, subscribing, liking, commenting and all of that, and go follow my Instagram, it will be right here. Obviously I'm going to keep it anonymous, but I'm going to insert the screenshots of the questions here. Definitely subscribe to see more content. So I've written down the questions that I received and then my own tips. So I decided to come closer as the lighting is better. But yeah, so this is what I have written. Without further ado, let's get right into the questions. So the first question is simple. I got two same questions. Two people have asked me, is university worth going? So my answer is it really depends. Now the thing is, I understand that university is not for everyone. The majority of my content is predominantly based on uni because I'm currently in uni, so I'm vlogging it. So in a way it may seem like I'm promoting going to university and all of that, but I would say it really depends on you as a person. For me it is definitely worth going because I enjoy learning and I enjoy meeting new people and I enjoy having an extended sense of education. So for me it is 100% worth it, and I am considering doing a postgraduate degree here. I know that may sound like I'm a nerd or like, oh, why does she want to stay here for longer than 3 years? But honestly, like, a lot of people do masters and postgraduate degrees. I think I'm going to do at least 4 years here. For a person like me who felt like they haven't really made the most out of education before, especially since I suffered with confidence issues, I had a lot of trauma in the past, I don't really like talking about that online. I think it's definitely worth it for a person like me. It really depends. So for me it's worth it, especially since life is kind of back to normal. I'd say if you want to work full-time, like obviously like just because you go to uni doesn't mean that you don't work at all. Like people do part-time work or summer internships, side hustles, etc. But if you want to work full-time, or if you feel like education is not for you, then I would say uni is not worth it, and everyone's experiences are so different. But for me personally it is worth it. I would say it's worth going. But for someone else who probably doesn't value education that much, maybe they feel content or satisfied with their social networks and their friends, maybe they want to work full-time or spend more time travelling or doing another thing, then I'd say university isn't worth it. But for me it definitely is, and I can confidently say yes for me. The second question that I have received is, how did you feel on the first night of arriving to university campus and how do you cope with anxiety, etc.? So the thing is, this is a good question and I definitely am passionate about this topic. I did write a blog about it. So the thing is, I've always had anxiety, and I know it may not seem like it, and I know I kind of do come across as like confident, bubbly, a bit outgoing. I am a little bit shy and reserved, but I have suffered with anxiety before, even before starting 6th form college and even like moving back to England, because I used to live in Taiwan for 2 years before. I've had anxiety before, and how do I cope with it is to literally like force yourself outside of your comfort zone and do things that literally scare you. And by doing that, your confidence evolves. By talking to new people and doing things that you normally wouldn't do on a day-to-day basis does definitely help ease your anxiety. What helps me deal with my own anxiety is reminding myself that a lot of other people feel the same way, even if people don't talk about it or open up about it or aren't vulnerable enough to show that. I remind myself that it's completely okay to feel anxious, and other people probably do, even if they don't appear like it, or even if some people conceal their anxiety or depression or whatever. like it's okay. And literally, oh my god, before I moved to uni I felt so anxious and I felt so stressed and I felt like I didn't have enough. But when I had to take that jump outside of my comfort zone, I realised that it's actually not as bad as it is. Like, it turned out to be so much better than what it was in my head. So my advice is, you can work your way up and take gradual steps, but is to like do things outside of your comfort zone, do things that scare you. The other part of the question is, how did you feel on the first night of arriving to university campus? So to be completely honest and transparent with you, I actually felt homesick, and that is so normal. Like, other people feel homesick. Like, on the first night I felt quite unsettled and out of place. Like, I was grateful that my parents came with me, helped me unpack. So we had lunch in a nice local pub and then we went grocery shopping in Tesco. But on the first night I felt so weird. But then the second night, the third night, the fourth and the fifth night, it just got better and better. The first night I felt quite homesick, but I felt also some excitement because it was like a new environment. I did something outside of my comfort zone, which was moving out, and this is literally the first ever time I've moved out of my parents' home, so I'm very proud of myself. That is how I felt on the first night of arriving to university campus. Also during Freshers Week, I felt like I kind of did force a little bit in terms of like making friends and like trying to fit in, but then after Freshers Week I let things come more naturally. And I actually, to be fair, like, I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but I actually didn't know anyone before moving to university that was going to the same uni. Well, obviously, like, I know a few people that are going in next year, but I didn't. So I was literally like all on my own when moving in, but I think I did very well and I have handled this situation very well, considering the fact that I didn't know anyone before moving to uni that was going there. But like meeting people, talking to people, and also like learning how to not take things so personally is like, definitely it is a skill to master at, because I am actually quite a sensitive person. If you're a sensitive person, you know that this is quite hard to like not take things personally, and if you feel like someone doesn't like you, try not to like take it personally. It can be quite hard, but from my experience, because I've been in university for 1 month so far, I've had to learn how to not take things personally. I try to be nice to everyone, not too nice obviously, because I did have my guard up and I wasn't gonna like be taken advantage of, but like just be nice and polite to everyone and treat people how I would like to be treated. That's how I also dealt with my anxiety and just facing my fears, knowing that it's not as bad as it was. I'm very grateful that I took that step out. So the fourth question is, what is the best thing about university? I like this question too because it also focuses on the positives. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that on the second night I actually did cry because I felt very homesick and I was meant to be going to this neon party. And I did go out on Freshers. I cried on the second night because I felt very out of place, but now it's a lot better. I mean, I still have my down moments, but I feel like I am dealing with it pretty well. My answer to question 4 is like, what is the best thing about university? From my own personal experience and from being here for 1 month so far, I feel like my favourite thing about university are the societies and the clubs. So like joining different societies and like the events. I really like the events. Like, I consider myself a social person, and I felt like this uni is more social, or like they put more effort into hosting events than the sixth form college I went to. Like, the sixth form college was alright, but I feel like the best thing about the university is like the social events and like the clubs and a huge range of societies. Like, there's horse riding, trampolining, cheerleading, like cultural, political societies. I also like the library. That's like one of my favourite things about the uni, the fact that sometimes it's hard for me to study or do work in university halls, so I have to like go to the library to do my own work or to edit YouTube vlogs or do my own blogging, you know, like my own projects. So I like the library, and I cannot exclude this from what is the best thing about university, but I just really like socialising, and I like living in student halls because I feel like that gives me a chance to like meet more people and like make great friends that could last for a long time, especially since during sixth form college and high school and all of that I didn't really live with anyone apart from my family. Just living with people, the social life, the societies, the clubs and the libraries. So yeah, but I will also add what are the least favourite parts about uni. Not to be negative, I'd say the negative parts about university, it really depends on the individual, but I would say maybe it's the money. Well, obviously we have the student loans and student finance there, but I think the worst part is probably maybe the student finance, how complicated it can be. Like, some people think it's easy and straightforward, whereas for some people it can be a bit hard. So maybe the fact that university is quite expensive and there are quite a lot of expenses like rent, tuition fees, food. It really depends on who you are. Also, another worst part about uni, I'd say, is like the Moodle system, the learning system. So like, for example, I have like only 8 hours a week of in-person and online lessons, and then the rest is like independent study. So we're kind of expected to use Moodle and like learn how to use it. I mean, I know it obviously gets easier over time and I'll get used to it, but probably getting used to the new systems, especially since my ICT skills isn't the best. I am working on that. I would say those are like the worst parts of uni. Those are my answers to your guys' questions. Thank you for submitting them, and if you're new to my channel then you can obviously follow me on Instagram. Honestly, university is a great life experience for me, and it also does help me improve my confidence. It just teaches me how to be more independent without my parents around. Oh my god, I'm just literally picking hair from my sock. Moving on to my tips on starting university, I posted a poll on my Instagram story the other day on whether you would like to see an update Q&A or my tips for moving out and starting uni. I want to say that anxiety is normal and getting outside of your comfort zone definitely helps. This is a highly recommended tip from mine, but I would say act confident, and sometimes you need to act like you have it all figured out, especially if you live with other people. I think it's good to have your guard up, like obviously be yourself, but I would say act confident even if you're not. From my own experience, it was so much better than what I have felt before moving out. So my other tip about freshers is to not buy freshers tickets before you get to uni, especially if you don't know who you're going with. There can be a lot of pressure to give into freshers events, like buying the tickets. Don't have too high expectations on freshers events, especially based off what you see on social media or off marketing. During freshers, a lot of people were quite disappointed in some of the events. They are fun and definitely like go to them if you're into that, but I'd say don't expect them to be super brilliant, because you might spend a lot of money and then your expectations are up here and then you just face disappointment. You know, like, just, you know, have fun, but don't like expect too much about freshers. Don't buy freshers tickets before going unless you know for sure who you are going with and if you really want to go to the event, because when you get to uni there's still an opportunity to buy freshers tickets like final release. Obviously, like, I'm the type of person, I can't socialise every single day. Like, I need to have my own time to mentally recharge, spend time on myself, and also staying up late at night. Like, I really enjoy that. I know that doesn't sound good, but I think the latest I stayed up was like 6 o'clock in the morning, which I know is ridiculous. So my tip on that was to not buy freshers tickets before going unless you know who exactly you're going with. I made the mistake in getting the neon party ticket, but definitely you live and learn. My other tip is it's okay to feel out of place and homesick, and also be prepared to have distractions coming along. Like, so for me, well, obviously it really depends on how well you can deal with distractions and temptations, but for me, I find it a bit hard to deal with distractions. I can't just turn off and then focus on work or focus on what I'm meant to be doing, like assignments. So that's why I definitely appreciate the library, but there is a lot of distractions when it comes to uni. For example, socialising, other people around, events going on social media. There can be a lot to balance, so definitely prioritise your mental health. Tomorrow I'm definitely taking a break and just focusing on myself during the day, because especially since yesterday I vlogged, which I did enjoy, but then, you know, it was the start of my period, and then today I felt like a lot of things was going on. So definitely prioritise your mental health. Just know that there will be distractions, but you will get better with time management and balancing things and all of that. And also I would say don't put too much pressure on yourself on figuring out what to do, and don't force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. Like for example, I would like to get a part-time job, but I feel like even now I'm still not ready for it. Like a part of me still feels reluctant to have a part-time job, so I'm just working on my YouTube channel and my blog, also my Instagram, but I'm not taking my Instagram like as seriously as my YouTube. But I think I will have a part-time job in the future, but I don't think now is the right time. But I'd say don't put too much pressure on yourself to figure out what you want to do, but definitely prioritize your mental health, have fun, and also I would say don't force friendships and relationships. And I think also with guys, like, oh yeah, that is a huge distraction, like boys, guys, dating, all of that. I would say like don't be too easy for people. Like I know that like sometimes it can be hard if you're a bit too excited, if you like someone a bit too much, but I would say like don't be easy. Like obviously I'm not saying play hard to get or play games, but like don't be so desperate for people's attention, and definitely focus on yourself. Those are my tips from my own experience on starting university. Not every single moment is perfect. I am grateful for documenting my experiences with you guys and for you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for watching my Q&A. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.